What is up, everybody? Rob the Vapor here, and it is vape vlog time. So I have been vaping for a year. That was the first thing I wanted to say to you guys. How awesome is that? It has been a year since I started. Not on YouTube. I've only been about 6-7 months on YouTube, but it's been a year since I started vaping. So we'll talk a little bit about my first setup and sort of my journey through vaping. And we'll also talk a little bit about this guy, which you guys might have seen if you follow my channel. This is the H-Cigar VT40, and I have a review of that coming up in like a week or two, depending. And yeah, we'll just talk about what we've got coming up on the channel, and obviously my vape-versary, or vape-aversary, vape-iversary, I don't know. It's a stupid name. I've been vaping for a year. So yeah, I started, I don't know why, I think I was kind of frustrated with, going into, because I had an office in my old place, and I used to go into my office and I would just smell smoke, and everything was really smoky, and I hated it. I really didn't like it. My desk was littered with, ashtrays, ash, because I rolled my own cigarettes. There was tobacco everywhere, cigarette papers everywhere, filter tips everywhere, and it was just so messy. I always disliked that, and yeah, so my area was just totally messy. I hated it. I hated the smell. I hated all that stuff. So now my desk is full of vape stuff. So it's it's an interesting switch. But so I decided one day, I was literally just downtown walking about, and I decided, yeah, I'll go and buy a vape setup. And I hadn't watched any videos on YouTube. I had tried vaping previously to limited success. It was okay. I was using a Cigalike, one of the very, very basic Cigalikes that you could unscrew the bottom part and change it out and stuff. I can't even really remember how it worked, but it had USB charging, I remember that much. And I had like 2 of those units. I had 2 batteries, and I thought that was the tits. I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm never going to smoke again. But after about 3 months, I started smoking again. It just didn't work out for me. So I switched then back to cigarettes, and then when I decided to quit, then I was just walking around. So I said, I'll go up to this vape. We have like a vape stand. I wouldn't even call it like a shop. It's like a stand in like a supermarket, if you're from America, like a mall, like that kind of area. And I just went up. The guy asked me, I presume he's not very knowledgeable on the subject. Sorry to be hating on him, but I think that's just the facts. And the questions he asked me were, how many cigarettes a day did I smoke? Which, to be fair, is a good question. And what brand did I smoke? So he gave me some cheap Chinese e-liquid that was like branded as the same tobacco I smoked. It didn't taste anything like it, but it did the job. And then I had a CE4 with an Ego, which is a basic setup. Still wouldn't knock it though. I think it does have a place. I know a lot of people who still use CE4 type atomizers with an Ego, and they're quite happy. So I switched over to that, and eventually, and this is weird because I was a YouTuber at the time, but I did video game stuff, and and I was live streaming. No, I wasn't live streaming yet. No, I was. So I was live streaming, and I had a YouTube channel, so it was quite media centric. But I had never checked out vaping videos on YouTube, weirdly enough. So I got this set up, came home, used it for a few days. It did the job, and then I was like, hey, wait a second, let me look up vaping YouTube channels. So I started to look into it. I actually came across Indoor Smokers first, and Grim Green, and who else? Indoor Smokers, Grim Green, and Rip Trippers. Those were the 3 guys that I came across. Grim Green much later, but those 2 first was Rip and Indoor. And I started watching a lot of Indoor Smokers. I still to this day watch a lot of Indoor Smokers. His style, I think, is just funny. And seeing all the products that he was talking about, so I decided to get a Kanger Mini. I think that's the name of them. Aero Tank Mini. Was that Pro Tank Mini? I can't even remember. I have it here somewhere, I think. But I started using that, and I believe that was a clone or something. It just wasn't working right for me. I just had problems, but it was good, but there was a lot of problems with it. So I could sort of tell initially that, yeah, I could see the potential. Let's just say that. So did that for a while, fantastic. Then I made the switch to a Nautilus. And I was actually using the Nautilus on a Ego battery, which, while it was decent, it wasn't a great experience. So then after that, I got the MVP2. And the MVP2 is where I stayed with the Nautilus for quite a while. Moved on to some other Claromizers. I actually preferred the Jenny tank or Genie tank. I thought that was a better tank. I still think that the later Kanger coils are better than the Aspire coils. I know a lot of people will say, yeah, no, that's, bullshit. But personally speaking, I've had way more issues with Aspire coils as opposed to Kanger coils, and that still remains the same. So yeah, that was my setup for a long ass time. Started branching out and getting sample boxes, started doing videos, unboxing them. Realized that sample boxes are garbage. Stopped doing them. Started buying some little bits of vape gear. And and then started reviewing more and more and more. And now I've come to a point where I almost feel obligated to keep content on the channel. So that's good, I guess. Good for you guys. You get to see a lot more stuff. Bad for my pocket. But yeah, and then, so that was my vaping journey. And I graduated then from, Claromizers to rebuilding. I had a lot of help with guys on the ECR EU subreddit. Those guys helped me learn how to rebuild and stuff like that. And got some gear, started building. And I haven't looked back really since. I've progressed pretty steadily throughout vaping, pretty predictably in the last year, from not knowing absolutely anything to, now I've used Clapton coils. I've built tons of coils, tried tons of liquids, tons of products. It's a good journey that I've gone on. So yeah, that was basically the long and short of it. I might even talk about, in the last year, I want to talk about like my favorite atomizer and stuff. We'll do a separate video for that, but I think out of what I've purely used the most out of all my atomizers this past year, Claromizers, I would have to go with probably the Kanger Jenny tank. I think I used that the longest out of all of them. I stripped the threads and everything on the 510 on that. It was in bits when I stopped using it. So I do recommend them. The build quality isn't 100%, but they're great to figure out if you like vaping or not, And then, and then rebuildable atomizers, just the drippers, I would say I really dig the Freak Show Mini. The Pollux was good. It's hard to pick, one. Also, the Mutation X V4 that I'm using right now, there's going to be a review of that coming up soon. I really like that. I've got an authentic. I really like it. I think it's awesome. I have the temperature sensing build on it with limited success. Still working on getting it proper. But I really do like the Mutation X V4 just because it has that option for the bottom airflow. Mad Hatter was great as well, speaking of bottom airflow. So yeah, it's funny, but that just shows you if you guys are new to vaping, if you guys still have a basic setup and maybe it's not satisfying you 100%, just know that you can make the transition very quickly to doing whatever you like. Now I do my own e-liquid, I make my own videos, I review stuff, and it was all in a small amount of time. So it just goes to show you that there is nothing in vaping that should be too intimidating. With the right sort of preparation, you guys can pretty much do whatever you like. As long as you're safe about it, you can do whatever you like. So yeah, that's basically the first year. That was it. That was the progression. YouTube has helped me a lot because it's kept me up to date, and I sort of do this. I've got like a sort of extrovert, introvert personality where I like putting myself out there, but in public situations, in real life public situations, I'm not so much really into that shit. So, I'm a little bit of both, I find. At home, around, in real life, as I call it, I'm quite introverted, but when I'm putting myself out there on YouTube, I have no issues being an extrovert. So I've done it with video games. I sort of immerse myself in the environment, and with vaping, it's helped me a lot because it's allowed me to try out a lot of products that I probably wouldn't have, and stuff like that. So I've found, things that I like because I was getting them for you guys, as a review. So happy days. And yeah, I want to talk a little bit about this guy. Man, the more I use this, the more I like it. This is the VT40, so it's probably going to be a fairly positive review, I think. I'm vaping my own DIY at the minute. I'm coming up with a recipe. I've been toying with it for months, but I've switched some base ingredients, and I'm starting to like it now. It's a banana based recipe, but slowly but surely I think I'm getting to a point where it's something that I would like others to try. Not saying I'm going to sell it yet, but send it to a few friends, stuff like that, people in the biz, and see what they think of it. But yeah, it's this DNF40, man. The chip itself, one thing I will say about it is it seems to work better when it's stuck with one thing, one unit, one clearomizer, one dripper, whatever. It seems to work better then. When you start screwing it off, putting an atomizer on, doing all this stuff, it starts to get a little bit confused. There is steps for it to not get confused, but those steps don't work necessarily 100% of the time. I still think that temperature sensing is 100% the future. Revolutionary, I would even say. Not just the DNF40, but all the different temperature sensing chips that are coming out there. It's just a question of which is going to work the best. But I think it's revolutionary. If we can get Kanthal, then it's going to be even better. But man, really, this has been a treat to use. It's so good to be able to use a coil and not have to worry about it dry hitting for some random unknown reason, or maybe you put some atomizer on and you swap, you have a high wattage, you have it turned up to 40 watts, you put a coil on this, put this back on, and it's still at 40 watts and you end up burning the coil by accident. That just won't happen. Or at least it hasn't to me, and I've been sort of messing around with this a lot, changing the temperatures a lot, and I still haven't got a burnt coil. So that to me is super important, and it also hopefully will drastically improve coil life for me as well. Especially with these OCC coils, because if something goes wrong with these, they're pretty much going to taste horrible until you swap it out, So with this temp sensing technology, it's crazy. I might even buy a Nautilus Mini with some of the temp sensing coils and try something like that out, because I'm very curious as to how clearomizers will work. I know I'm using the Clearo now, but something that's more widely used. I think sub-tanks and stuff are still a little bit specialist, you know what I mean? Even though more and more people are buying them. But yeah, it's crazy. Temp sensing is crazy business stuff. Something that I am a fan of. I really like that we are moving this way in vaping. And I think a lot of the criticisms that are coming from these chips are from guys like me who are reviewers, and we are being possibly overly, I don't know if dramatic is the right word, but we're probably scrutinizing it more than... Well, we're not scrutinizing it more than we should, but we're relaying this information, so a lot of people pick it up the wrong way and they sort of go, oh my god, the world is ending, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the case. The realistic case, in my opinion, is that these things are going to work sometimes and they're not going to work other times. But by working, I mean a very, very small problem. I don't mean that the world is going to end, your coils are going to blow up, or it's going to be a very, very frustrating experience. Initially, when you get to use this, you're going to be a little bit confused by things like the wattage and the temperature settings. Even I'm a little bit confused by it still, but after a while you just sort of get it. It just sort of sets in, and then it doesn't really not work as much anymore. It just, it just works. It just is. So yeah, I do suggest everyone get temp sensing, man. I think it's going to be very, very revolutionary. in vaping. Happy days, especially with the Farsalinos studies about formaldehyde, aldehydes being released from dry hits. If you don't have that anymore, you're drastically reducing your aldehyde consumption, I guess, right? That's just Dr. Rob weighing in on it, not Dr. Farsalinos. So take from that what you will, you know. Vaping out loud. That's what I wanted to talk about. So Bobby has no internet right now. My internet is sketchy right now. So we have taken like a brief hiatus. I think we've been off the air for the last 3 weeks, but I think 1 week Vape Miser stood in for me. So, there's been officially 2 weeks missed of episodes. Vaping out loud is something that I want to commit myself 100% to. Right now my internet doesn't allow me to do that. My internet is crap. It allows me to upload, but that's about it really. Even downloading is terrible with it. So that means that my Skype calls when we're recording the episode, or any calls, I know people say use TeamSpeak, use this, use that. It times out every now and then, which makes it quite difficult to hold a conversation. Even when I'm talking now, like in my headset when we're doing the podcast, I might hear silence for a second. No ambient noise from Bobby's mic, no ambient noise anywhere. And then that leads me to believe that, oh shit, the call has ended, or I've dropped from the call for a second. So I'm always asking Bobby, am I still here? He's like, yeah, you're here, man. So the good news is I'm getting 1000 meg fiber, like next week or the week after. So the order was messed up. Last week it was supposed to be here, the order was messed up. But I think they said they're going to try and install it on Monday because they messed up. And if not Monday, it'll be the following week. So Vaping Out Loud, whether Bobby has internet or not, will go ahead. I'll be able to stream it, if Bobby is struggling. And if you guys don't know Bobby, it's Iron Hammer 5 is his YouTube channel. You should check him out. He does very good reviews. So yeah, it will be going ahead pretty soon. Which is great because I do love it. I love a vaping podcast. I love doing something on the side. I've kind of removed myself from like watching other vape YouTubers and stuff. I do watch some still, but I sort of want to, try and focus on me. Not so much on what other people are doing when it comes to vaping products, but more on me. Because if I did, then I wouldn't have reviewed the HB Mini. Which is right here actually with a Limo 2 missing his trip tip, which is one of my favourite mods. It's absolutely awesome. And because I have the H Cigar VT40, people are probably thinking, oh, you're just a H Cigar fanboy. But I paid for both of these units. The reason that I'm raving about them is because they're solidly built. There's been no issues with mine, or to my knowledge, no one's. And we are in a market when we have iSticks messing up. We have IPV messing up right now. So I think people should definitely look towards companies like H Cigar more. I know that a lot of them aren't proven, and it's quite tough to invest in something that isn't proven. But I've taken the chance 3 times doing that. Every mod that I review pretty much is something a little bit out there, you know what I mean? Like this Tesla, which was absolutely rubbish, garbage. And I would tell you that. So I'm not just saying, oh, I love this thing for whatever reason. I've openly said things are garbage before when they are. The H cigars are solid. And this one in particular, this is an expensive unit, but it really does feel it. It's such a nice unit to hold. It's ridiculously comfortable, and it's something you just don't want to put down. It's awesome. It really is a good unit. So you will expect a glowing review, put it that way. So yeah, it's all been positive. It's been a good year. We haven't had many haters since I started the channel. You guys seem to dig what I'm doing. I have to mix it up a bit, as opposed to the more popular YouTubers, and I want to get this out there. As a YouTuber, I'm here to help people. I'm also here to get views. I'm also here to get as many products out there to you guys as I can. So to me, it's important that I have an audience. So for me to acquire an audience, I need to buy products that people haven't already reviewed, or brand new products. In the case of H Cigar, they were brand new. The Tesla was brand new. So does that mean that I am in some way trying to like game the system? Not at all. What it means is that I am trying to get these units, which is a huge financial investment on me, because they can turn out crap. Case in point, this €100, basically crap, right? I've been lucky with the H cigars, but other things not so much. The reason that gets me views is because the bigger guys haven't done it yet. And again, this is another thing I want to touch on. So I am in the same boat as the rest of the guys. I seen a reviewers queue, and those guys were talking about people putting out day one reviews, stuff like that. I think that's stupid, crazy, and just silly, and possibly even dangerous, especially if you have something like that blows up or something. You need to relay information. So what I do, my take on this whole thing is I will do a day one first impressions video, first look video, which is not a review. It's simply a way for me to show you guys, hey look, I got this, there's no videos of it yet, so if you want to check out a video, here it is. This is the unit, up close. It's not a review by any means, and I openly say that whenever I do a day one video. The review comes a week or two later. And that's my formula, and that's what's worked for me so far, so that's what I will be continuing to do. But yeah, with that though, it's been quite fun to do that. I really do like getting the videos up there for you guys, and getting the feedback from people on whether it's good, what battery should I use, all these questions that people ask. I enjoy helping, which is why I like having an audience, you know what I mean? That to me is why I do YouTube. Otherwise, I would not do YouTube. If I wanted to help people on the down low, I'd be on some vape forum, but I want to be a YouTuber. That's why I'm here. So I'm putting myself out there. And hopefully people like it and watch me. That's YouTube. I hate when YouTubers say, oh, I don't do it for the views or anything. Of course you do. You're here to get watched. Otherwise, you would not put out videos. Simple. So let's just get that out of the way. But yeah, that's basically been it, guys. Really, I want to say, as a vapor for 1 year now, that I will be continuing to vape for the foreseeable future. I think it's an effective way of giving up smoking, and it's an effective way of maintaining a habit in a healthier way. It's almost like cheating. It's like wanting to go on a diet and finding like this miraculous cheeseburger that tastes great and you don't put on any weight when you eat it, right? That's pretty much vaping. So I'm glad that I have it. I'm glad that I'm helping you guys. I'm glad that you guys are helping me and suggesting things to me. That's what I can take from the vape-versary. I've learned a lot about myself, about the benefits of vaping, and about helping other people switch to vaping as well. So yeah, guys, that's been it. I've been Rob the Vapor. Haters catch the vapors. I'll see y'all later. If you watched this for 23 minutes, me blabbering on, thank you very much. It's much appreciated. See y'all later, guys. Bye.